Oh, hello. So usually I just press record. I totally make an outline for the show and I just kind of make my outline and I press record and we chat, you and me, and it's fun and I get it right on the first take. I stumble my way through sometimes. That's kind of the beauty of voice memos, right? Is like I'm sending you a voice memo. But this morning, this is take 2. Just gonna say that right out because I needed the fumble was too much to bear for you. So I needed to save your ears. But I did want to start off by just saying thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the voice memos crew. Thank you for following along with the work that I'm doing. Thank you for participating. Several of you have reached out recently and sent me really encouraging, very heartfelt emails, and you know who you are. And thank you. It means the absolute world to me. Truly, I will always be making an effort to read every single comment, every single email, every single piece of communication you send to me. And maybe at some point that might need to change. Like if I become like a super mega, I don't know, leader, influencer, and I have billions of people following me, but I don't think that's going to happen. And quite frankly, I don't really want that to happen because it means so much to me that I can comment, and it means so much to me that I can reply and that we can have a real conversation. Because I don't know, I think sometimes when I listen to podcasts, I forget that there's like a real human being on the other side that wants to connect with me. And I want that with you. So thank you so much for taking the time to follow along. And I would ask if you're able, / please do it now. If you're listening on Spotify or an Apple Podcast, on Spotify, you can rate the podcast. It's like a little 5-star option once you listen to an episode. There's like a menu, like the 3-dot menu. You click and it will be on there as one of the options. If you could rate it, it would mean the world to me. They don't have a review option on Spotify, but on Apple Podcasts they do. And I have to be honest, there's no direct link I can give you to leave a review, which is infuriating. If they are going to promote, if they want reviews to help promote podcast growth, but they don't make it easy for people to leave reviews, it drives me bonkers, which there is some serious sales lessons in there, my friends. Reduce friction for people to take the actions you want them to take, whether that's leave a comment, pay you money, give them your email address, leave a review, give you feedback on work that you have delivered for them, right? Or a service. Anyways, Apple Podcasts, I can have some words with you. That said, I'm going to need you to clap for me because for months, maybe a month and a half, what is time, right? I don't know. But the podcast cover on Apple Podcasts has finally changed to the new cover, and I'm thrilled. I don't know what it is. It's a really good testament to the importance of branding and the importance of our visuals showing up as ourselves. When our branding enough, which, to be quite honest, I still feel like my branding feels clunky. It's something that I put a lot of effort into for my clients, but I've not yet put the proper effort to get for myself. I have photos that I really love, thanks to my dear Christina, and I have elements that I like, but on the whole, I don't like my logo suite. The font pairings feel clunky to me, and it just needs some refinement. And there are certain elements I really love, certain elements I don't. So it's just kind of, I'm letting myself take it slow and trying to not be hard on myself about that. That said, when the podcast cover changed and when I made that shift and it felt more like me and less like what I thought it needed to be, it almost gives us a permission to show up more as ourselves. The best way I can think to equate it is when you finally find the pair of jeans that fit your body in a way that make you feel good in your skin. So yeah, you're probably beautiful in them, but the reason why is because you feel confident in your skin. You feel like that whatever outfit, whether jeans or dress or whatever that looks like, a suit. I don't really care what the articles of clothing are, as long as they feel like you and you feel like when you put these clothes on, somehow you're more you. Your meanness is accentuated. And that's kind of what branding does for our businesses. And it helps us to show up with more confidence in the same way that a really good outfit helps us to show up with confidence. And so there's a lot of value in that. And I can't stop saying, so I was listening back to one of my own podcast episodes because I was trying to find something and I realized how many times I say, so sorry about that. But, anyways, speaking of clothes though, I heard an educator, a business educator, talk about how sales girls, they call it sales girls, get dressed every day and like do their makeup every day and get ready every day. And the way they define that is pretty loose, but and I understand the principle of what they're saying there, right? It's just like what I communicated to you is when we feel good in our clothes, when we feel good in our body, we're going to show up with more confidence. We're going to say the thing a little bit more boldly, or at minimum, a little bit more in alignment with the leader that God has created us to be, right? And that said, the way that this message that they're sharing is positioned, it makes me recoil a little bit because I feel as though that sort of line of messaging, see, I did it again. I said, now I'm hyper aware of the ums. Anyways, just call me Mrs. I feel like that line of messaging, though, makes it seem like we can't show up when we feel less than in any way. And that is going to derail the growth and the hard work we have done to build our own self-development, our own like sort of willpower, our own discipleship, and like follow through. And the way I can think to equate it to is a lot of people really say, and I have spoken about this many a times, but a lot of people will say, oh, if you're not reading your Bible or showing up to it from a heart posture of like desire, of eagerness, of wanting to be there, then it's all for naught, which I call bullshit. No, absolutely. There's like nuance there, and I recognize that. But from obedience, devotion is born. Like reading our Bible, studying scripture, fellowshipping with God, and communing with Him is a command. It doesn't determine how much He loves us. It doesn't determine like our salvation. It doesn't determine our worthiness in any way. But it does determine our relationship with the Lord, and it does absolutely have a direct like relationship to how we bear fruit in our lives in a way that is positive and healthy and good. And that's why God made it a command, is because He knows it's best for us and He wants to take care of us, right? But if I think to myself, oh, I can't read my Bible because I don't feel like it right now and my heart's not in it, then I am missing out on building self-discipline. I am missing out on learning how to do the thing even when it's hard, because we have to do the thing even when we don't feel like it, or we lose momentum and we will never get to that place of devotion. We will never be able to wrestle through these topics. We will never be able to arrive at the place that we want to arrive to, because we've spent all of this time telling ourselves, oh, but like, I don't feel like it, so it's not in my giftings, I'm not gonna do it. Like, that's crazy. And the same is true for this concept that I heard them speaking about, wherein what makes me, I'm trying to be respectful because the principle in and of itself is valid. There's so much science, so much research that says when you take the time to invest in clothes that make you feel good and you dress in a way that makes you feel good and you feel more confident, not only will you produce better work, but other people will perceive you as a leader, perceive you as more of an authority, perceive you as more relational. Like, there is truth there. In the same way that when we come to our scripture with an eagerness and with a desire, we're probably going to have we're probably going to enjoy that experience more. There will probably be more goodness that kind of flows out of that. But what makes me recoil is this idea that it makes it really easy for us to believe that if we aren't the kind of girl or the kind of man, the kind of parent or business owner who can wake up an hour before our kids, put on a full face of makeup, take a full shower, do a workout, eat some green vegetables before they wake up and do our Bible study, then we're not going to be able to be a good business owner. And that's nonsense. Which is why, my sweet friend, I'm recording this video. Even though my face looks like this, I mean, I'm beautiful. Let's not be crazy here. But it's not a done-up face. My hair is crazy. I haven't been able to take a shower in 2 days. I'm wearing a sweater and sweatpants. But I haven't been recording videos lately. I did 2 because I did my whole face up. I got all fancy for you. You're welcome. But then I stopped because normally when I'm able to record these episodes, it's in these weird in-betweens where I have to get it done now because I can take a shower when Max is home. But I can't record this episode and chat with you and spend time with you in this way and encourage you and support you through voice memos when Max is here the same way. Like, it's really tricky for me to do that. So I need to prioritize in that way. And yeah, sure, I could wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and get it done before he wakes up at 6 a.m. But I can't do that every time. And expecting myself to do that every time is unrealistic of expectation to put on myself in a season where Max is still waking up in the middle of the night sometimes. Like last night, he spent most of the night in my bed. It's not like I had a restful night's sleep, and neither did he. What was the best choice for me and my health and my family and for you as like a client and as like a community member was that I would get some good sleep so that I can lead well. I can lead well with messy hair. I can't lead very well being hyper sleep deprived. It's going to be a lot harder, right? And so this is me declaring to you that sweaty armpits and all, there's a video option here if you would like it to watch. I will be on YouTube. It will be on Substack. I don't know if I can, like, because my podcast is hosted on Substack, if I can put the video on Spotify. I'm considering moving my podcast host from Substack over to, like, whatever. That's a conversation that doesn't need to happen right now. But anyways, I hope that this kind of encourages you to remember that you can do the hard thing. You can show up to do the thing even when you don't feel like it. And that doesn't make your effort and your output less valuable. In fact, it's actually really admirable that you would do the thing even when you don't feel like it, because, and I know I said it earlier, but obedience does lead to devotion. And what I will say is, ask God to give you an eagerness. Ask God to give you a devotion. Can I be honest with you? So you know, my dear friend, how much I hate laundry. I have proclaimed for years that laundry is my nemesis, and she is. Laundry is a little bit of a bitch. Let's be real. Shh, don't tell her I said that because she might get mad at me. But I actually have been, like, all jokes aside, been asking God to help me have a desire to fold laundry. And does that sound like the dumbest thing you've ever heard? Perhaps. But the heart of that is me saying, like, okay, I really hate this job, but I know that as part of my calling as your child of God, as a mother, as a wife, as, you know, just a human being living in the world who has to wear clothes, a subset of a job I need to do is fold laundry and wash the clothes and put them away. Because putting them away is the hardest part, let's be real. I don't know what it is about, like, could there be a machine that puts the laundry away for me? The inventor of the washer and dryer right now is rolling their eyes in their graves. I am certain of it because of my first world problem nonsense. But anyways, I do hope that this, all jokes aside, I really have been praying that God would bless me a desire to do the laundry, and not even like a desire so much as like that I would find joy in it, that it would be a time where I would get to meet with God, or that I would be able to infuse some layers of fun into it, because I know, and I am preaching it all the time because it's something that I struggle with, that the systems and foundations and the routines that we have in our home, in our day-to-day life, will have a direct impact on our business. You can't separate the two. In the same way that you can't separate discipleship without business. Like, you can't separate this biblical discipleship and business development as a Christian business owner, as a Christian coach, as a Christian author, writer, counselor, therapist. Like, you can't separate those two. Whether you're an outwardly spoken Christian organization or not, if you love the Lord, you can't separate biblical discipleship from any element of your life, because it's all so integrated. It's all so interwoven. And that word integrated is one that really speaks to me in a lot of ways. It did the rounds as a buzzword many trend cycles ago, but it's one that has stuck with me since, because I think of the way that we're going to embody leadership in whatever role we're in, especially as a business owner, is by recognizing this interconnectedness, this integration of biblical discipleship and business development and and development and management of our homes, of our relationship, what have you, right? So like discipleship without development won't sustain your business, but development without discipleship isn't going to transform your life and help you to be the kind of leader that you need to be, that God has called you to be. You need both. You need discipleship and you need development. Because at the end of the day, what you're called to do is seek Christ and love your neighbor. Like, it really is that simple. We really, really overcomplicate it. And this word calling has been monetized to death. And there's a book in me about how much I hate that. but this is why, though, so much of the Percolator is built on this conviction, and so much of the work that I do, not just within the Percolator, but in my one-on-one like consulting and coaching packages, in the courses that I create, in this content that you and I get to share right here, like with this voice memo I'm sending to you. It's all built on this conviction that business is ministry. It is not the highest ministry. It is not the only ministry, but it is one beautiful way that we can showcase God's love and showcase the gospel through our work. And skipping systems and sales and operations, skipping that piece, that back end piece that so many of you really hate, is a disservice to your family, is a disservice to your clients, and it is going to impact your ability to fuel a positive change for the kingdom, to love at the fullness that you can love people. Because we like to think that love is an emotion, but it's not. Love is action. Love is sacrifice. Love is intentionality. Love is like a verb, not just like a feeling. Yeah, I said that in a way that makes sense. You follow? You follow. What I'm trying to get at here is that you can't separate discipleship from development. And you can't steward your calling in any area of your life while skipping systems. You could probably get by for a while, though. So you could probably get by for a while not having any systems at home, not having any systems in your business. But at some point, you're going to feel it. Your clients will feel it. Your family will feel it. And most importantly, you will feel the burden and the weight of it. You just will. Because you weren't made to sustain everything all at once. And what a good system is meant to do is help you to sustain the habits, sustain the goals, sustain discipleship, sustain self-discipline, even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's hard. It's meant to reduce some of that workload for you so that you can keep showing up well, messy hair and all. And if you're running a business, all the more so. If you're running a business as an ADHDer like yours truly, even more so, my friend. If you're running a business with kids, you get the theme here, right? If you're running the business with a chronic illness, you need these systems. If you are running a business with as a human who has other responsibilities and other callings, other burdens, other hobbies, other passions, if you are a multifaceted human like God made you to be, you need quality operations, quality systems, and flexible foundations, right? This is the cornerstone of our business. Like, this piece can't be ignored any longer. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to kind of dive more into what that means practically, because like I said at the top of the show, those things can sound very heady, very vague, very like the word synergy. I wish I could I'll see if I can find it and pop it in the show notes. I'm not sure if I can, but there was like a video I saw at one point of like a bunch of like corporate bros. It's meant to be satirical, but like you just using the word synergy and like in ways that it doesn't make any sense, that it doesn't really apply. That's like, why are we using all of these big fancy words that kind of mean nothing and everything all at once? But I do kind of think strategy, operations, systems, foundations, all kind of can feel like that if we don't have some concrete definitions attached to them. But anyways, to serve well, you do need both. You need discipleship, you need development. And your business and the kingdom and your family and your well-being, cannot afford to ignore these pieces of your business any longer. Like, we're done. We're done with this frantic scramble, right? Now, listen, I need you to not just like roll your eyes at me and tell me that I'm over spiritualizing systems, because my sweet friend, I am not. First of all, everything is spiritual, so that's a separate theological conversation for another time. But good operations, systems, and flexible foundations are actually like the cornerstone of so much scripture. Everything from Levitical law, everything from so much of Proverbs, the early church, the 10 Commandments, in one way or another, are pointing to systems, strategy, and strong operational foundations. Like, if you don't believe me, open your Bible and read, my sweet friend, because you will find over and over again, whether it's God sharing instructions to create some systems and some foundations that guide their future decisions, right? And give them a structure from which they can operate as a human, as a church, as a group, in a battle, right? Like, I'm sharing all of this because as ministry-minded business owners, I have noticed how easy it is for you and I to get caught up in what feels like the like quote unquote most important work. It's usually like, and when I say most important work, typically we identify that as like the parts of our business or the reason why we started our business in the first place. So maybe for you, that's writing. Maybe for you, that's painting. Maybe that's for you, that's like conversations with your clients and like the actual counseling or therapy sessions, right? Maybe that's why you started your business, was to serve your people. And I assume for majority of us, that's why we started our business. And we tend to think that anything else that we do pulls our attention from the quote unquote most important work. And when we do that, we neglect these foundations. We neglect operations. We neglect strategy and the systems that will actually help you to serve your people better, create more lasting and like potent impact, and help you to have fun while you're doing it. Like, what if instead of always feeling desperate for the sale, always feeling frantic, always feeling behind, you knew what your next steps were? You had a system in place when your bookings get low and you know what to do to get more bookings. Like, what if instead you can see, oh, my sales are really low. I'm feeling really aimless right now. This is the system that I'm going to follow to get me back on track. What if when you're sick for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're not able to show up in 100% capacity in your business, you had strong foundations in place that you could rely on: a high quality website, a good email marketing strategy, content that is evergreen, that lasts, and that will continue to serve your people even when you're down for the count for a bit. Those are the things that must be put in place. And now think about it this way. If you have school-age kids, you're going to understand this, but I think that even if you don't have kids, that this will resonate with you. Like, you need a rhythm for when the kids get home from school, a spot for their backpack, a place for all of the many, 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 many papers that come home every day. You need a general order of events for like when they come into the door, what happens next? Do they go to the bathroom first? They put their backpack away. They probably clean out their lunchbox, or maybe they put their papers on a certain spot. And if you don't have that system, please, for the love of all things good and wonderful, make one. Because if you don't have some sort of a system, even if it's a loose structure, like it doesn't have to be like this rigid, we're drill sergeant parents making our kids do these things, but some sort of a system so that the hours from like 3:30 to bedtime aren't like a total and complete nightmare. That is a system. So let me define these things for you, right? So systems are the rhythms and routines in your business or in your life, right? Foundations are the non-negotiable parts that make your business work. So think website, email list, marketing channels. These are going to vary a bit based on the work that you do and based on your strategic plan and your goals that you're working towards, right? So your foundations might look a little bit different from other people's foundations, but they all sort of share in common that they are the non-negotiable pieces that you fall back to that make your business work the way they do. So for all of us, we need a website. For all of us, we need an email list. And for all of us, we need some form of marketing channel, but those might vary in the way that they look. And there are other sorts of foundations too. So like if you're a counselor, you might need a CRM, or if you're working with one-on-one clients, a client relationship management software. So I use HoneyBook. I'll put a link to it in the show notes if you're interested. I think you'll get a discount if you use my link, but I actually have a freebie called the Business Brew Kit, and it's like a roundup of all of like my sort of tech stack, all of the things that I use in my business to help it run more smoothly. So I'll go ahead and pop that in the link, because that would be a really good tool to help you sort of start to think this through and bring this to life in a really practical way, which is kind of what I was hoping this episode could be, is a really practical way for you to start to sort of think through what are the systems, foundations, and operations that your business needs, right? Okay, so systems, routines, and rhythms in your business. Foundations, the non-negotiables, elements in your business that make your business like actually work. And operations are the way that you're putting those systems into action so that you can build upon these foundations to actually grow your business. So operations isn't website, email list. Operations is how are you using your website and your email list to grow your business, right? And so systems and operations can sometimes be interchangeable, but in my mind, they're different. And we can dive more into that at another time, but operations is more specific to how are you putting foundations into practice, whereas systems might be more general than that, right? Those are the rhythms and the routines. So a system might be, for example, let me try and think of like some good. I should have written down some examples for you, because coming up with examples on the spot, like I am a very good teach on the spot, just talk and things come out of my mouth that sometimes make sense. I think that I'm good at that. I like to think I'm good at that. I kind of think so. You tell me I'm good at that sometimes, so I'm just going to trust you. But I'm not good at coming up with examples on the spot. So bear with me while I fumble through this, right? So let's think. Okay. So a foundation in my business might be this podcast. That's a good example. The foundation is the podcast, right? Voice memos would be one of those pillar marketing channels for me, a pillar community building channel, a pillar communications channel, right? So like I'm going to get sales from this podcast. I'm going to connect with you on a deeper level. I get to facilitate and nurture the community. It's a space where I get to like make my business work and come to life, right? So one of those foundations is my podcast, is voice memos, right? And so the operations that I'm doing that are kind of the tech and the tools that I'm using on the back end to make my podcast come alive, right? So Riverside FM is what I use to record. And I have sort of a system for that. And then I upload it to Substack, which is my podcast host. And I would consider those processes some sort of operations in the back end. The systems, which are the rhythms and the routines in my business, would be, in my mind, the way that I'm describing them, would be the way that I prep for the episode and the way that I share the episode once it's live, right? So the way I prep for the episode is I use my action planner, which is another free resource that you can grab. It's a Notion template that I really, really, really love. And many of you have said you've loved as well. So I will also put a link for that for you in the show notes. It's hosted on Notion. You get a whole little mini email series teaching you how to use it. It sounds complicated. It's super not. It's so user-friendly, 100% free, 100% customizable. But anyways, one of the systems for making voice memos come to life is I create an outline for the show. I gather up in advance all of the links that I'm going to need to put in the show notes. And as part of a repeat system, I have a card that every time I click to create a new, and I teach you how to do this in the action planner, or like email systems or series that comes when you sign up for the action planner. But it's the same card that has the same templated format every time, so that the links that I know that I need to put in the show notes every single time, like to my website, to invite you to book a strategy session, to get the free action planner, to sign up for the percolator, right? Like the links that are going to always be in the show notes, or in the show notes most of the time, I can just copy and paste. So that's a system that saves me time, that makes me producing this podcast more fun, easier for me to come like easier for me to follow through on, right? And yeah, it took me some time to set up that system. But now it's like you rinse and repeat. You do it over and over again. So I think that's the best way that I can think to explain foundations, operations, and systems, right? And each one of these elements are essential for your business growth. If you're an author, if you're a counselor, if you're a coach, if you're a nonprofit leader, if you're an industry professional in any niche, this applies to you. Because otherwise, your business is going to start to feel like the equivalent of like a pile of coats and smelly socks at the doorway. Like temper tantrums and chaos and like the witching hours of the night while you're trying to get dinner ready. Like that's what it's going to start to feel like. And I know you don't want that, and I don't want that for you. When we skip these essentials, we burn out really fast. And discouragement is going to set in really fast. We're going to start to wonder, why are we doing this? I spend so much time working and I'm seeing such little results. More often than not, it's not the content or quality of your work that needs to change. It's the systems, foundations, and operations that make your work actually work. You follow? I hope you're seeing just how important this is. And so if you're hearing this right now, if you're listening to me and being like, oh, this is a little too close to home and I feel really overwhelmed, like setting all of these things up is a big project. And you're right, it is a big project. It will take time. I promise you it is worth it. I promise you slowing down to speed up is worth the investment of your time. It is worth a pay cut for a season so that you can launch into some future growth and that can be really sustainable. Because a lot of times I meet with clients and they're eager for growth. They're eager for a revenue increase. They're eager to reach new goals. But they don't have any systems on the back end that can actually sustain the client load that they would need in order to reach the goal. Make it make sense, my sweet friend. So taking the time to create this is really important. But I don't want to overwhelm you. And I want to give you a practical way that you can start to do this right now. So, and actually, if you and I were sitting across the table from one another, let's just pretend we are, because I'm in your ears right now. I'm sending you a little note, a little voice memo. I would tell you that you need to start by creating a strategic plan. Now, at this moment in time, you don't need to dive into like the nitty-gritties of a strategic plan. If you're ready to dive into the nitty-gritties of a strategic plan, I created a course to help you do just that. And it's in an early access right now. So you can get it for $200 cheaper than it will normally be. And it comes with a very robust Notion workbook. It comes with an audio course, so you can listen to it on the go and re-listen to it on the go and take notes as you go within your workbook. It is a very robust course that I'm really proud of, but it is an early access right now. So I only have the first module or two out, and I'll be slowly dropping future modules. And in this next season, I'm going to really focus on wrapping that up. My goal is to have the full course all the way ready to launch by the end of November. So if Grounded, which is the strategic plan course, if that's something that you're actually interested in, I would highly recommend you grab it now. And as a side note, if you apply to the Percolator before October 10th, you will get it for free, which is a $397 value. All free, my friend. Okay, anyways, but you don't actually need to go dive into like a complete strategic plan at this very moment in time. Like, you do need to, but at this very second, you don't need to. So pull out your notes app. I'm going to walk you through 3 things that's going to start you on this path to creating these foundations, systems, and operations that are going to serve you, right? So instead of diving deep into every single element, we're going to take it one bite-sized step at a time, which is actually why the course that I created, Grounded, is a really great resource because it's designed to be one little tiny step at a time. So right now, what I want you to do, though, pull out a notebook, pull out your phone, get ready to take some notes, okay? What I want you to start to get clear on first is your brand identity. So we're not talking about your brand visuals. We're not talking about colors, fonts, logos. You do need to identify those, but that is going to be an outflow from your brand identity. Your brand identity is going to be the thing that your brand visuals are a thing that communicates your brand identity. In the same way that the clothes that you wear communicates your personality, communicates what you're comfortable with, like it communicates your interests. It communicates a lot about you, and you've chosen it for a reason because you feel good in those clothes, and your brand visuals do exactly that. Right? But right now we're going to focus on our brand identity because everything from our colors, fonts, our logo, even our offers, like our offer ecosystem, our freebies, the next topic of your book It all hinges on your brand identity. So it's comprised of several parts, but we're going to just do 3 right now, okay? So in your notes, write 1, 2, 3. We're going to go through this step by step. The first one is your owner's intent. The next one is your vision. And the third one is your mission, okay? So for owner's intent, your owner's intent is not the like sexy, fancy reason why you do your business. It's not the impact focused reason. It's the why does your business serve you and your family? What is your business going to give you, the business owner? That's your owner's intent. Your vision is how your business serves others. So it is the more impact focused reason. And that's what your vision is. Your vision is going to be think big, think huge, think world changing. And your vision might not be something that ever is fully reached, but it's something you're constantly working toward. Does that make sense? So, for example, end world hunger might be a vision. You're probably never going to actually end world hunger, but you can absolutely make a huge impact on world hunger and serve tons, hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children who might need food, right? And so your owner's intent is how your business serves you. Your vision is how your business serves others. And your mission is how you are going to work towards your owner's intent and your vision. Those are the 3 pieces that you need to work towards. Within the Grounded course, my course, I will walk you through. I have so many like sub prompts to help you wrestle through this idea, help you to articulate these into words that communicate well with your audience, that you feel really good about. But for now, just outline those things. And then if we were sitting across each other, I would also tell you that you need a website, you need an email list, and you need a loose strategy to bring in sales in a way that really embodies your brand identity. Because this is leadership in action for the Christian business owner, right? And I'd also remind you that you shouldn't do this alone. This is not meant to be a process that you do in isolation because, and I said it a couple episodes ago, but isolation is the death of motivation 100% of the time. That doesn't mean you don't work on it by yourself and you kind of go through it, have some sort of closed doors moment, journal through it, pray through it, write down all your notes, think about it. But then you got to bring it to someone else. So you have to share this with other people. You have to get some feedback and some support and some accountability to not just refine these elements of your brand identity and of your business, but also to hold you accountable to those things and to help you actually live those out. And that's exactly what the Percolator is designed to do. So the Percolator is my mastermind. I've been defining it as a 4-month mastermind, and each cohort is 4 months, but it's actually meant to be an ongoing mastermind. And I realized that my messaging is kind of off there because when I describe it as a 4-month mastermind, it makes it sound like you do 4 months and then you're done. But it's actually designed to be cyclical. So within each cohort that you remain on for, and that you come back for, you're going to go a level deeper. So I've created a whole new framework, a whole new system. Well, it's not whole new, but it's much more refined than the inaugural cohort, which was still incredible. Like I was actually going through and reading through the testimonials from past, like from my inaugural cohort group. And I, again, was reminded that, like, I tend to think in my brain that all my past work is utter trash and garbage and that I'm no good at my job. But reading through their testimonials kind of reignited some excitement in me and reignited, like, my vision for this work and reminded me, like, like, the mission or the vision behind the Percolator is truly to help you by giving you live business strategy, personalized feedback, a high level of accountability in a faith-driven community that is going to be like an iron sharpen iron sort of space. It's a space where inconsistent progress turns into faithful, lasting impact and growth that fuels kingdom impact. It's a space where biblical discipleship and business development meet so that your shaky sales become steady. Your systems finally work for you. And you have foundations, operations, and systems to rely on. And, my dear friend, so that your task list that is actually never going to end, and it shouldn't ever end. Like if your task list ends, if you run out of things to do, like, don't you think you're going to be so bored? But if your long task overwhelms you right now, my dear, The answer isn't get rid of all the tasks. The answer is create systems, foundations, and operations that are going to help you look at your task list with excitement. It's going to help renew that excitement. And that's what the percolator is meant to do. So within the percolator, I'm not adding on a ton of extra work for you to do. What I'm going to do is facilitate you in doing the work that you already have, the work that's already set before you, with more confidence, with clearer direction, and in a community where we are all going to uphold one another. Like, this only works if you participate fully. And I know that you will, because I know that you believe in the work, and I know that you understand the importance of the work of the men and women who are also within the percolator. So there are only 4 spots left within the percolator. Early application closes on October 10th. But if you're listening after that, applications for the second cohort don't close until November 1st. So you've got some time to apply. And when you do, that process is pretty simple. Like, you'll submit an application, and when you submit that application, it's not you like making a full commitment that you're going to join the percolator. It's just the first step in sort of saving your spot in line. So if you're listening to this on the day this episode comes out on October 9th, and you are like, okay, I really am interested in it, but I'm like 80% sure, 20% unsure, I would say submit your application now so you can lock in that $700 of savings, which is 46%. That means you're only spending $997 for 4 full months of a high level of accountability, a high level of consulting and coaching, and a high level of community, so that you're, like I said earlier, this like inconsistent progress that it feels a little bit like haphazard efforts, but like you're seeing the results. Like, you're seeing that your work is working. You've made some sales, and you probably are making regular sales, but you're like stuck in a cycle of kind of like, you're not gaining the sort of traction you know is possible for you, and things feel kind of clunky and feel kind of haphazard. Then the percolator is perfect for you. Anyways, all that to say, I am really, really excited. I am eager to get started, and I myself have sort of a renewed excitement for my own work in getting to read some of the like feedback from the last percolator. I had some of the like members within the percolator got to be featured on, well, one of them, Christina, my dear friend, got to be featured on HarperCollins. She sold out her course, and she met her course sales immediately after finishing going through that percolator. I had another client who finally started to understand the business sides of things, is a very good coach, is very skilled, is very talented, has done tons of training to become a coach, but the business side was the disconnect. And she left the percolator feeling really excited about starting the business and feeling really clear on her next steps and having a direction in which to take action from. I had another percolator member, Deanna. She's an incredible artist. And it was really cool to watch her vision for her work and see her start to understand the like kingdom impact that is possible through her art and through these sales, and watching her like shift the way that she approaches her work and reimagine her offer ecosystem suite, reimagine what's possible for her through this work was such a joy to see. And it's just been really exciting. And for Brenna is a bookkeeper, and watching her kind of really dive deeper into the niche she wants to work with, how she wants to work with, and starting to recognize that her services are not a luxury, but they are a necessity, and being able to kind of shift her marketing and her systems to really reflect that. And so anyways, I say all that to say I'm really, really proud of the women who've gone through the percolator, and I'm really excited to open the percolator up for both men and women this round. It will always be open to men and women. The only thing that is going to be just women specific is company retreat, which actually the doors for company retreat in March are going to be opening very soon, early November, because I want to give you guys a long runway to be able to have some payment plan options and whatever. Anyways, I'm getting into the nitty gritty of this. This is going on for too long. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that this was really encouraging to you. If you took notes, owner's intent, your vision, your mission, I would really, really, really love it if you would screenshot your notes and email them to me, or even better, if you're feeling brave, add it to the chat within the voice memos like Substack. I'm going to put a direct link to that, because we can have like a community chat there, and we can all talk together. And so I'm hoping that we can kind of lean into making that a more prominent part of our community here. So if you're not already following and like subscribe to voice memos on Substack, maybe you're listening in Apple Podcasts or you're listening in Spotify or somewhere else. But also subscribe on Substack so that you can be part of that chat. And I'll put a direct link for that in the show notes as well, per my usual. But anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. It really, 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 it means so much. I hope that this was encouraging. Let me know what stood out to you, because I gotta be honest, your encouragement and your feedback and like what God has sparked in you because of something that I have said, or maybe because something I said made you think of something else, made you think of something else, made you think of something else, and you got to this cool epiphany, or you're wrestling through something. Like, I would really love to hear it. I would really, really, really love to hear it. Okay, that's all. Talk next week. Bye.